have done that to him. I meant to have him off. He was not planning that. Happy Friday, y'all. It is the end of January 2025. Trump has turned off all government websites. The U.S. Treasury has removed itself from central banking. There's just so much to celebrate. Happy Chinese New Year, but most of all, happy Red Friday. We remember everyone deployed, so grab something red, put some red lipstick on, throw a red shirt on, but most of all, remember everyone deployed. We'll be right back. I'll bring Westwood back right after this. Give us a like, share the video, and turn on this show if you have normies in the room. I'm all kinds of all over the place. Yes. All the ridiculousness. Thank you. Perfect, Westwood.
You said wear something red.
Wear something red. That's
I'm good. I'm good to go, baby. Red. I'm ready for this madness.
There you go. So oh, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh my goodness.
This is what happens when I go to town. So I went to Dollar General and they said all Christmas stuff, 10 cents or less. And I'm like, oh, a Rudolph nose that flashes for 10 cents. How can I pass it up?
So you got a Rudolph the red nose?
Yeah, I got a Rudolph nose, or a clown nose, Rudolph nose, whatever you want. You know.
Yeah.
10 cents. Couldn't pass it up. You know. That's how I roll.
Awesome.
Oh, no.
Change something. It's kind of a little glitchy. Right before we're supposed to go on, lost all Wi-Fi in the house. And I thought, oh crap, is this because Trump, he was supposed to turn off all the government sites at 5. And then I was like, oh, but did I send you the I did. Hold on.
Some video.
Yes, I'm gonna play this for everybody. Because gosh. My button pushing is not very good today.
Dexterity in my digits. It's not working right.
It's not working. Let me see. This is so funny, you guys. So right before the Wi-Fi went out, and right before we were gonna go on, old Buzz Aldrin had something to say.
Oh no.
6 years ago, we conquered the moon. Now Verizon is conquering dead zones with satellite, and I'm helping them do it.
Satellite?
Can you text me now?
And it said Air Force.
Text me now. Can you text me? Can you text me now? Good. With satellite, you can text from anywhere. Can you text me now? Good. Can you text me now?
That's my line.
Okay,
that's one giant leap for connectivity.
America's largest network just got better. Where's my helmet?
Where's my helmet? So I thought that was funny. I thought, well, are they going to show us?
Well, is that because I did, because you can do a cell over Starlink. Well, that's kind of
So that
not really cellular if it's over satellite. But I mean, yeah, you can do the phones over. Yeah. So are they partnering with him, Verizon or something, to make that happen?
Maybe. It was my understanding that you did not need a Tesla phone, that any device could use the satellite cell technology.
So that's what I'm thinking they're probably doing then. They're probably hooking up, because who else would have that network in place?
Yeah, it has to be Elon. It has to be
I would think. Yeah.
Starlink thing.
Wow. crazy. But it fills the gaps. I mean, that's what the video was called. It's filling the holes. I thought about this. I've been pondering this, and I brought it up in a video, I think yesterday, just briefly. And I thought this should have been done in the first Bush or the second Bush administration. I thought he was going to come in, and do something good. Instead, we go to war. But it could have been at that time. I said, hey, everybody needs to have high-speed internet. Everybody in the country, that should be an initiative. Just like, we put the interstate system in, and try to get phone lines in, that kind of stuff. At that time, 20 years ago, I was, in my mind, I'm like, we need to do this. I mean, to have information, information highways so that everybody, no matter how rural they are connected, because then that folds into, what they're talking about now, rural healthcare. There's gaps, and you see hospitals closing. I see it around here. I mean, and then, when you bring in the AI and the technology, don't even think AI. When you bring in more technology, these people in rural areas, I mean, you're not going to have to go to the doctor for simple things, because right now a lot of people don't go because, they might be elderly, it's wintertime, it's difficult to get to the doctor, and then they get there and all they get is a prescription. You know what I mean?
And
it's like they sit there
germs.
and what?
More germs.
Yes, exactly. I mean, why not use that technology and utilize that technology? And it's getting that way where you do remote visits and that. But everybody should be able to do that, and especially with AI. I mean, if you're wearing an Apple Watch, it's monitoring everything anyway. And if you can privately, or I should say without, this is where something like Digibyte comes in, to where, you can do it anonymously, and you can retain all your medical data rather than sharing it across the world. And I mean, all you're saying is, hey, these are my symptoms. This is what's going on with me. This is my blood pressure. This is my heartbeat. This is, what all the, the readings are. Give AI the symptoms, and it's got all the information and pulls it. And, rather than some doctor that says, yeah, I think it's this, I think it's that. No, I think it's going to be more pinpointed because, all the knowledge that it can pull from. And, I'm like, okay, 99% sure this is what it is, and this is what you need to do. And so for technology, I think that's a great thing, with, utilizing AI.
I know that recently I tried asking AI a medical question, and it said that I wasn't authorized to use it in that manner or to have that information or whatever. And so I was like,
and that's part of the problem, though. It needs to be built out that way to where you might have fine-tuned medical AI, like AI doctors and AI lawyers and AI whatever, that specialize maybe in that. But I mean, if you got the right one will do it. But I can see it growing that way to where you go to a lawyer and pay how much money for advice, and half the time they don't even freaking know. They just, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. And instead, you can fine tune it, like the tip of the spear, the laser beam, and you can drill into exactly what you want and get the answer and the format and everything that you need to do. And that's the benefit of it. I don't know.
That would be the benefit of it.
So anyway, but you need high-speed internet or good internet everywhere in order for any of that to happen. And so that's why I'm like, hey, 20 years ago, we should have put this stuff in instead of spending trillions of dollars, killing people.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we have some great clips from Big Pharma Day. This one with RFK calling out Bernie. It's probably one of my favorites.
Healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would, no. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
pharmaceutical
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
PACs. You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question.
I don't know. That's just hard to beat, in my opinion. where to go? I mean, I think we've known that for a long time. That's where I Am has that umbrella policy, or the idea for the umbrella policy, where it prevents like those big lobbyist groups from the only way like the representative can get the money. Well, they can't get the money necessarily, but they like the money comes in from the big groups, and the money has to go to the community for what it was intended. And if the representative doesn't vote, I hope I'm not misquoting this, but this is how I understood it. If the representative doesn't vote for the will of the people, then he doesn't get the money. I don't remember what happens, but it all shuts down. There's a go to den.social and read the umbrella policy, which I've been seeing umbrellas everywhere in the commercials and stuff. That dog is being so naughty.
Come on, kick her butt. Right.
She's fine. She's fine. My dogs are so used to them barking that they don't even bark back when they hear your dogs now.
Tilly, no.
Oh, we know that dog. It's good.
It's ridiculous. And then Franny's sitting over here on the couch, just looking at her like, what's wrong with you? It's like, I'm good.
Why are you barking? Yeah.
Like, I'm over here. He's giving me like chews and stuff, and I'm just hanging out. And then here you are acting stupid.
Mm-hmm. She's like, maybe if I keep barking at him, he'll give me a, you know what?
Basically, that's where we're at with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Big old softy. He'll roll over for me.
You will cave, yeah. Anyway, it's fun watching like Big Pharma get called out. There was also the Tulsi hearing, which, I mean, do you think these are not the things that normal people are not sitting at home watching these? Probably
not. I mean, maybe RFK, just for grins. Who knows? I mean, yeah, normal people are like, hey, what game's on next? Hey, do we have like, when's the Super Bowl? Where's it at? What's happening?
I have something for that too. Hold on. I thought this was funny, and I think you will think it's hilarious as well. Wait, I might have to go back and. Okay, there. I have it frozen, so now I can, and at the beginning, so I can show it. Oh, you guys were seeing it the whole time. Dang it. See, my clicker is off today. I'm exposing things I shouldn't be.
Would you like it? Well, I thought that was for Patreon members only. No, there's would you like a red nose?
That might help.
Can I offer you a red flashing nose?
That might help me. That might help me stay focused. Yes.
Okay,
yeah, the cashiering was fun to watch. They tried to get him to say that he believed in QAnon. It's all like word salad, though, right? There's that big dog. Okay, watch this one, Wes. With Sean posted this in the group chat, and it was hilarious. And I was like, "Oh, that's me watching anything on TV. Everything's a calm."
Wow.
I
figured out the script.
Yep.
What do you mean? The commander-in-chief is pushing bills in the land of the eagle.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
I do, and it reminds me of the one that's going around where everybody's reenacting it on TikTok. So they'll have a Mexican guy, and I shouldn't say he might not be Mexican. Anyway, Latino or whatever. And, he's at the door and, like, knock, knock, knock. Oh, hey, we're doing a check, for illegals, and the guy's like, they'll say, make America. So they'll say, make America. And he goes, great again. Okay, next question. And so they're like verifying. It's like, the female singer out there, Taylor Swift, and it's like, okay. And then, and then the last one is say Walmart. And the guy's like, sir, say Walmart. And he's like, sir, you have to say Walmart. And he goes, Walmart. And then the door opens. It's like, Walmart. It's like Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie. You know, it's like they can't say it, you know, it's that whole thing. It's pretty funny. I mean, if you see it, it's just in
So like now that
Walmart.
Trump like brought TikTok back, or he's trying to bring it back, I don't even think the deal's done yet. Like they were going to get somebody to buy half of it.
Yeah, it's up in the air. There's like what, 60 days or something they have. I don't know.
But they did like reverse the ban for a period of time. Do you feel safe on TikTok or watching TikTok that you're not being like?
I don't watch TikTok. See, what happens is they'll put it on X. Somebody will take the TikTok video and put it on X. That's the only reason I see it. I don't even have a TikTok account, so I don't know.
I don't have a TikTok account because I didn't want to give access, because I thought they would have backdoors and stuff like that, and I didn't want to give access to my phone.
I don't do it because it's just like, that's just one more distraction I don't need. I mean, that's why I never did it, because I mean, just sit there and it's just like, you know, and I can't. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. Any social media, it's anything you're on is like listening to everything and logging it all anyway. So just how many times you want to get logged by how many different people. Log me harder, baby.
Log me harder, daddy. Oh wait, that's not really bad. Sorry, I apologize. That was not what I intended.
Made you say somebody record that. Get a sound clip.
Hope not. Lord. Okay, so then Tulsi was saying she will not be their puppet. I thought that was good.
It's on our
what
side.
Symbolism was that? She had the white. It was almost like a Hawaiian goddess.
An Al-Qaeda offshoot.
Well, remember when all the
HTS,
Dems
led by an
wore the white
Islamist jihadist who danced in the streets on 9/11.
Do you remember when the Dems wore the white suits? What was that about? Because it
was
like,
it was like the State of the Union or something, like a protest. I think it was a State of the Union. It was like a protest.
Yes, that's
I
what
think that they all wore white. Yeah,
they all wore white. So I think she's like undoing it or whatever. You know how they do all that magic,
throwing it back at you, boomeranging you
in your face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I think so. Yes, this show is PG. But I didn't mean to say something vulgar. I didn't. That's
PG-13. Let's just say that PG-13 maybe.
Yeah. Lovely Westwood and Savage Lisa. Well, there we go.
Savage Lisa. Dang.
That's what JB said.
Yeah. Turn it around. Right?
Probably.
Nobody's ever said they're lovely Clint Westwood.
Oh my goodness.
JB's an interesting cat, though. He tells it like it is.
What are your thoughts on the U.S. Treasury thing?
I didn't even read it. I saw you posted it. You know, so they disconnected from central banking.
Yes.
I saw the green thing, and I know there's probably all kinds of meanings behind that. I did not read that document though.
Okay. So this was on a government website. So he paused government websites, but you can still see whatever. But it's my understanding, like when he paused it, that means like you don't get to make updates, whatever, all that kind of.
Yeah, they're basically taking all the DEI stuff off, I think, and they're scrubbing all that stuff.
Okay.
That's why they got to pause it and then launch it.
And then relaunch it. Okay.
Yeah. Find and replace, on all the pages, and then save all, and then we're live.
Wow. Yeah, this top news: U.S. Department of Treasury withdrawals from the network of central banks and supervisors for greening the financial system, which I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't even know what that is. Greening the financial system. Supervisors for greening the financial system. Is that to make it green? I mean, from the standpoint of, solar, wind, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
That's what I think that's what it is. I think it's their version of DEI. It's like the green energy.
It's like the Paris Climate Accords for banking, maybe.
Oh.
I
bet it is
done with
Paris
this.
Climate Accords.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read it, so I can't speak to it too much. I'm just speculating.
Okay. Well, I was hoping you would have. So I looked in this little AI thing, and it says NGFS is a network of central banks. It's another network of central banks and supervisors that aim to support the integration of climate and environmental risk into financially stability framework. The main goal is to help financial system transition to a more sustainable environment. Oh, because they're so sweet. It was organized to help meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. There you go, Westwood. Good job. It focused on integrating.
It just popped in there.
Yeah. So that's what the role diverges from traditional technical and coordinating roles of other international FORA. So.
Oh yeah. Nice. Got people hooking me up. All right, perfect.
What's other international FORA? What's FORA?
I don't know that acronym.
It's not an
freedom
acronym.
of something. Oh,
it's all in lowercase letters.
Flora, Flana, and Flora, Flana.
Those were the pixies.
Flora and fauna. Oh, Flora and fauna.
International FORA is.
It rings a bell, but I don't know.
Refers to a gathering or gatherings of organizations that may be from other countries. This forum be in the
Is
form,
it like the plural of forum?
I guess that would make sense. That would be Latin. Well, fora is singular, masculine.
Oh, is it?
So
okay,
that
so
would
like alumnus and alumni.
no, yeah, alumnus
And
is
then I'm
us
is
is
one, and then alumni is plural, and then I'm thinking, okay, so fora and forum. I don't know, maybe fora.
fora would be singular if it's Latin.
Latin. I'm not that well versed on Latin. I don't like.
I wish I was. There are things I wish I didn't have to do. Oh, look, Crypto Experiences by St. Jerome also lost control of his keyboard and had to reboot. It's going around. It's something.
You should have had a crypto laptop. You would have been fine.
Oh, stop. Mine's doing it. Mine's not a crypto laptop, but it's bouncing around. Have you been following the Litecoin?
Yes. The account, yes, I follow the Litecoin account. That's for sure.
I thought you'd get a kick out of it. There you go. Did you join the Discord?
Not yet. Discord is very discordant for me.
I don't like it either.
There's the thing is, I get the concept of it. It's good for business because because here's the thing with Telegram, with X, conversations. You got to scroll back and find it. Where's it at? Yeah, forget it. It's just like a constant streamlined feed. Whereas Discord, you can categorize it. But the problem is, as it gets bigger, people start posting stuff in the wrong topics and the wrong, and then it just gets spaghettied out, and so eventually it gets stupid. But no, it is a good concept. Everybody should join that. Because, if you want information on Litecoin, there's going to be Litecoin people in there. And usually it's categorized in, subjects. And then you can drill in and, it's like a forum, like when you look at like a car forums, when you're looking for, particular cars, and it's like, okay, motors for that car, okay, transmissions for that car. And as long as you have a good moderator, that's just like, hey, you can't post it in this topic. You got to move it over to that topic. Then it works. But, road to hell is paved with, unmonitored forums and Discord.
Yes. Yeah. Discord is not my favorite. I'm on Telegram, but that's for.
It's like the road to hell is paved with
that I'm
unbought pink glass, birds and stuff.
Swan. The swans. Yeah, I posted some new videos over there on our.
It's amazingly addictive, watching that stuff.
Yeah, we have fun with it. We're going to go again tomorrow, but to a bunch of sales. And so I'll try to capture some video. I need to figure out a better rig or something because carrying.
You forgot your microphone. Yeah, didn't charge it.
I have it. Did I leave it there?
No.
Oh yeah, I forgot it on this last video.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, so I'll have it charged for tomorrow, and I'll have the microphone on so that
be ready to go.
talking.
Right.
Yeah, so you can hear me better. But yeah, it's fun. We've had a lot of fun with it. And Charlie bought 2 more Mr. Christmas Nutcracker sweet things. We've sold each one for like anywhere from $400 to $300, and he's finding them for like $30, $40, and then he fixes them because like the doors will stick or something will happen, and then people are like, eh. And he orders them, and then we turn around and people want them. So if you have anything Mr. Christmas from your parents, hold on to it, because apparently it's like a thing. It's like a whole following.
Oh my gosh, I'm texting my daughter. She's killing me.
No, you're good.
I'm just getting abused. Seriously.
Put the phone down.
I'm getting so abused.
Sometimes you can not fix it.
Wonder why I drink on Fridays. And guess what? I can't even do that in peace. So it is what it is. Cut down to 1 day, you know. Here I am.
That's okay.
When personal cabin. Remember when we went to Arizona and we had the gal that flew the lovely lady that flew the second fastest plane in the world behind the Concorde, I think it was. And then all the roll down, stuff, on the windows, the metal that would roll down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a safe zone bunker. She like pushes a button and everything rolls down. The glass is all. That's what I need.
That's what you need. Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, I see somebody coming, I'll just go click.
And it has to go real fast.
That's it. You can't shoot through it. You can't. It doesn't matter. Zombies. Nah. See ya. I'm out. I'm reading Hemingway right now. Leave me alone.
Yes, nothing exists. I am says he's having dinner and listening to us. Well, hello there. I am. We're glad you joined us. Coffee and stocks. I think he meant Lisa, not Lita, but that's okay. We're all having typing problems today.
Yes, we're all dysfunctional. We put the fun in dysfunctional.
We do put the fun in dysfunctional. I had another friend tell me today that, well, I see you with your friends and, in these different groups and, you can kind of handle your own. And if somebody gives you a hard time, you just give it right back. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that's how you thought of me. It's kind of funny when people, no, you're fine, Coffee. I was teasing you about it. Anyway.
Funny, I was looking at the chat here. Light Shadow says, really, Clint, you need a tractor with a heated cab. Actually, there is a diesel tractor sitting here with a heated cab that never gets put on because it's just a pain in the butt. And it's just easier to just go out there with the stocking cap and, have the cigar. I don't want a cigar smoke inside, so if it's cold out and I'm pushing snow around, I'd rather be, just out there with the stocking hat and bundled up and
pushing snow with a tractor.
Yeah, with a bucket.
Oh see, your world to me does not I can't. I mean, other than
it works a lot better because you can pick it up and scoop it to the side and dump it, and get it out of the way instead of
in your yard.
Yeah, you just dump it on the side of the road.
I can't imagine. Yeah,
it's fine.
I see people, shoveling snow and
that
little snow blower things that you see on the movies and stuff.
I thought it'd be on the tractor smoking a cigar. Why do I want to do that?
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. To me, I never thought about it because I've just never lived somewhere like that. I mean, I've been.
Wine Road has got more snow in New Orleans than we have this winter.
Crazy.
Isn't that nuts? But there have been a few winters back. If you go, look when I used to make Twitter videos, you can go back and look at my feed, and there's several of them where I'm out in the snow and make a little video, get off the tractor, get on the tractor, and that kind of thing, and talk about all the snow and show all the snow that got moved. And I say, hey, proof of work right here, baby. Litecoin, sound money for the digital age. Tying it all together.
That's right. Did you love the AI?
That was interesting.
The Litecoin rumor. I was like, ooh, I love a good conspiracy.
AI is crazy. I mean, it comes up with stuff like that. Sorry, I'm going to make a little noise, a little bit of ice, and then it'll be over.
I thought it was really
quick and painful.
If you guys didn't see, Johnny and I talked about it last night, but
yes, go watch that video.
It's fun. But they were talking we went into what it said exactly, but basically it was saying that Litecoin could be used to be the silver And what made me think about it was tying it all together with the ITMs, the notch on the silver.
I knew you were thinking that.
If the, it's all, I don't know. And then I was wondering how MWeb could play into that. Is by using MWeb somehow, could that create like an auditing mechanism for anybody who had silver in that? Because we all talk about, we want our assets in our own possession, but then, it's dangerous to have that much silver.
It is. It's scary. That's why you have guards with guns.
Right. It makes you vulnerable, all this. But if the silver that you owned was in a place, in the past, we weren't able to trust Fort Knox. But now with blockchain and technology, is it possible, and I'm going to say this and it's probably wrong or it needs a different mechanism, but is it possible where like the coins, like there could be a total amount of coins, and when you put yours in, the amount went up. So you're like, validation. I know now the amount went up to this. So then at any point, you always know from that point, your starting point, you always know what it should be in there.
Yes, that's what Mimblewimble does. Because it doesn't keep, Mimblewimble does that. It keeps track of the total amount. So that, when some comes out, it does, it can go to a public Litecoin address. Nobody knows who has that Litecoin address. It just keeps track of what gets pegged in and pegged out. So it has the total amount that like goes off chain into Mimblewimble. So it's like a running tally. And as it comes out into different wallets that, you know whose they are until they spend it, in KYC. But no, Mimblewimble, that's exactly what it does. It's like a bucket here at the bar.
So in theory, you could audit that vault.
Yes, you just audit the bucket. Somebody can look in there and say, okay, there's supposed to be 1,000 Litecoin in here. There's 1,000 Litecoin in here.
Yeah, I'm going to take out, all you'd have to do is take out your 10.
And only you have the private key to take out the Litecoin that is yours. So that's already fixed.
You know what the whole total dollar amount should show. And if it represents the right amount, then you know that your silver is really there. Sure.
And take it a step further. I mean, because I think about this. Okay, why couldn't you self-custody your silver? And if somebody stole it, somebody goes to the bank and they steal dollar bills and they put in a bag, and then it explodes and it has like the red markings on it. No. And it's like, I can't spend it now. Ha ha, you lose. What if? Okay, and this could go both ways.
Oh, this is smart. I'm with
you. Think of all the silver coins that have come out with a little flat spot. It's a unique identity. Yeah, everyone's unique. It's got its own DNA fingerprint. Okay, so you can have those coins in your possession, and let's say somebody steals them from you. With technology, if they go to use them and try and spend them, it's like, oh, big red flag. Is your identity tied to those coins? No. Okay, you're getting arrested.
Now, okay, push back a little bit, but I think it's still valid. If you melted those coins down,
well, there you go.
Well, but
you make it illegal to melt those coins down because it's illegal to melt down.
Wait, I have an idea. So Bix had said there wasn't a mark on the notch. It's that each coin has its own makeup, like a fingerprint.
Right, it's got its own DNA fingerprint on that flat spot. You can read it and say, okay, the way the molecules or whatever come together. It's like a DNA fingerprint on each coin. And with technology, you can scan each coin when you go to try and use it. And it's like, no, wait a minute, is this coin belong to you? No, the blockchain has tracked it and it's tied to this identity. It doesn't have to be a person's name. It could be like a unique identifier. So you're anonymous, think Digibyte. And then, so, you authenticate and it's just like, oh, well, guess what? You can't sell that. It's like a catalytic converter. You bring a catalytic converter to the junk shop and you're like, okay, you need proof that that's your catalytic converter, that you bought that and you took it off of your car. Same kind of thing. You just use high tech in a very smaller level to where those coins are all tracked on the blockchain and tied to your identity, and you can buy and sell them, on the blockchain. It's like, okay, I transferred it to that person, unique ID, whatever. And then they go to sell it, and then they authenticate and say, okay, that fingerprint on that coin is tied to that identity.
Just that.
Yeah, and then you're done. So they can steal the silver coins from you, but they're already logged in the blockchain. So if they want to do anything with them, melt them, and there's going to be laws to where you can't melt it. There's laws right now you can't melt down nickels because you go to the bank, buy $100 worth of nickels. It's worth more in metal content than what you paid for it when you walk out the door, but it's illegal to melt it down. And so you got to have punishments, and it has to be, that's what government's supposed to do, protect your rights. And so that's what they should do.
Yeah.
And so that kind of world I can definitely see happening, and it can only happen with the technology that we have now and going forward, that you could have a system like that.
Yeah, it could definitely work.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
where, like you said, all the technology, like we walked through this during the Great Infection, they put in more and more and more of these ITMs everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, you take 10 ounces of silver, release it to the ITM.
mhm.
You put it in, and like you pick your phone up, you identify with your phone, and it's got a unique identifier that's tied to you,
Yeah.
not a social security number, something that is you. Then you don't even have to. They don't even have to know who you are. They just know that that unique identifier is tied to those coins. And when you put them in that bucket and try and transfer them into some other form of value, it says, "Okay, show me your identity." And it's like, "Okay, boom, you do this," like a Digi-ID thing. And it's like, "Okay, boom," and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. That doesn't match the identifier. These coins are tied to this identifier, and you're not that identifier. You can't, we're not going to," and boom, police show up. They confiscate the 10. You know what I mean?
Well, it
That
just
can
makes
happen.
it like an inert object. Like they would be, like right now they're
Or the
using
door's locked and you can't go, you can't leave.
Yeah,
Police show up.
they're using NFTs at like Lowe's and Home Depot so you buy a drill or a whatever, but then you get this little NFT with it, and then it starts it or makes it run or whatever. But you have to be able to show the NFT to make the item work, because there's so much theft in tools and all that.
Yep.
It's kind of that same idea.
Right. And see, with that technology, because you heard about it with like VeChain, everybody talks about Walmart's using VeChain, and that kind of thing. And, everything's tracked. It's got a little tag, and that can be done with technology. And I mean, in that aspect, if it's used for the good, I think that's great, because that protects and discourages crime, because people are like, there's no way I can get away with this. I mean, sure, they're going to find loopholes in a black market, but, that's where you have punishments, and that's where, and with technology, it's going to be hard to do it, because at the point of where you try to do that, you're interacting with the matrix.
Mhm.
And if you're defrauding the matrix and you're not the person you say you are, I mean, like I said, the technology locks the doors and the elevator's shut, and and you can't go anywhere. And you get in your car, and it's like you think you get away with it, and then it takes you to the police station because it's all digital. And you're just like, oh shoot!
Don't get in the Teslas. Be careful.
Right? They're like, oh.
Everybody send some love to Dave. He had a big rough day. He was in Lowe's. We were just talking about Lowe's. He says,
Sorry, brother.
Oh, and his money was all tied up. I hate to hear that, Dave. Hope you have a better night, and we hope to hear you on.
Yeah, chime in on Spaces. Let's hear the story. I want to hear about it. Is the snow all gone?
What do you think about the Gitmo stuff with Catherine? What's her name?
Herridge or Herridge?
Herridge. So she had gotten like out. She was trying to out the.
I think she's a good reporter. I mean, I really do. I mean, she's trying to dig, and yeah, she definitely got smacked down because she's trying to expose things.
She was trying to expose.
She's reporting. She's being a reporter.
Obamas and the Bushes and all that, and so they.
Catherine Herridge, I think.
Blackballed her. Herridge, yeah. And she now has been reporting that she's at Gitmo for the last week or so.
Yeah.
And that they're building these big courtrooms, and they're getting ready for trials and all of this. 3,000, Tom says 3,000 beds ready for use.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about, they signed the Laken-Riley Act today. President Trump did.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah. And it
There's
talks about.
His wrist has to be sore. He's going to have carpal tunnel. He needs AI to diagnose that, do something about it, because, he's with the pins, the squeaky pins.
Straight up and down signing. I'm like, Trump is not. The word Trump is only this long. He goes ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
It's like a crypto chart.
It does kind of look like that. Oh, actually, it looks like the top of that Hopi prophecy a little bit.
Let's not get into any hopium.
No hopium today. Anyway.
Do that later.
Catherine Herridge, she's wonderful. But
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
I think the timing of all this, like if we do get to see the beautiful bean footage and all the things that Q promised us,
The timing is likely.
it's time. You know, the satellites are ready. We can all watch on our phones and eat our popcorn. And I just
Get the non-GMO popcorn. If you're going to cook it yourself, get non-GMO popcorn. Use coconut oil. Coconut oil is really very healthy.
Yes. I don't know. I think it's crazy.
I got the popcorn popper over here. Nobody knows that. Well, people who've been here know that. You know, I got the popcorn popper. I use raw organic coconut oil and use all the organic popcorn and, you know, sea salt and all the good stuff, you know, that they used to use in the movie theaters until, oh, saturated fats are bad, even though your brain's all saturated fat. You know, we can't have that. We can't feed your brain with good stuff. What's wrong with you?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Uncle Cliff's been talking about. So I had asked him a long time ago. Actually, I think I still have a picture of. You guys know I had shared some of that EES stuff when I first learned about it. And they were talking about how we even went to one of those locations and tried it out, sat in the room, and he did say that scalar waves. So I asked Uncle Cliff about it. I was like, is this real or not? And he's like, well, scalar waves have been used for a long time and can heal or whatever, but those screens are not, it's just like a TV screen. They're playing a video for you or whatever.
All right.
And so now he's starting to talk about it. So I don't know if that group got in trouble recently or if people are, but you know, some really big influencers are involved with that too. Like that, what's that guy? Something Robbins.
Tony Robbins?
Yes. He's
The big guy that's kind of a morphodite?
He's gigantic.
Yeah.
But he has like a room in his house where he has it set up like they do at the temples where like the screens go all the way around the ceiling. And then he has all the devices and whatever.
Yeah. Like Black Mirror stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, you know, I put a comment in the chat, you know, responding to Light Shadow, 100% right. I mean, this stuff can be used for 15-minute cities, total enslavement grid. I mean, or it can be used for good. I mean, you know, we are at this cusp, this precipice, this crossroads, these crossroads, this fork in the road. Pick it up, right? Come to a fork in the road, pick it up, or make a statue out of it.
Make your choice.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. It's a choose your own adventure story to where it's going to be an interesting future because I can see all the good that can come out of it. I can see all the bad that can come out of it. I can definitely see all the bad that can come out of it because I'm kind of Mr. Skeptic, you know, that guy. But it's a very interesting time. And I think, okay, if I'm sitting at a cosmic bus stop, you know, my soul, my spirit is sitting there thinking, all right, I can go anywhere in this universe. What time, what place would I want to go back to and manifest myself in this, you know, this whole heap of flesh? And I'm thinking, now's a pretty good time.
It's a pretty exciting time.
It's a pretty exciting time. I mean, to be a part of this and witness this. It really is. Yeah. And, you know, it's scary. And I think, what the heck? Why would I even bargain, you know, and sign a deal for this life? But then I'm like, well, you know what? You're going to look back and it's going to be pretty amazing, you know, being a part of it.
Well, and I was watching
might end up like Swiss cheese, you know, at the end of it, but you never know.
But you used it all up and you learned.
Yeah.
You know, I was
go back to the bus stop and say, yeah, I could have done that differently. Yeah, give me 1,000 years, I'll come back again.
Well, and that's the thing. Dolores Claiborne was saying that like the people that are here now that are part of the awakening and the movement and the ones that are able to shift their mind and
adapt,
and critically think, adapt, be dynamic. They are probably like souls or whatever that they haven't been here for a while because they're like, that place is
like, I don't want a part of that. Hey, nobody want any part of that.
Let me know when the game is over and then I'll show back up. And
right.
So and said, like, we're just at that point. And of course she's been dead now for a long time, but
I'm here trying to time the checkmate, you know, so hopefully I came back at the right time to where I can see the checkmate. You know, I don't know which way it's going to go, black or white. Who knows? Checkerboard. It's hard to say. But, you know, I want to be an observer. I want to watch this stuff go down, you know, and maybe actively participate and maybe make a little bit of difference, you know, who knows, in a small way.
Yeah.
You know?
Think about all the education you've done and how much, you know, community building and sharing Litecoin and going to meetups. And even every time, if one person, you know, leaves this show on while their normie friends are over.
Right. And they're like, what's happening? What? It's funny. Like, I should have sent the link. I was going to send it to my oldest daughter because, you know, the guy she's seeing now, you know, in college, he was talking about, you know, I want to just watch his show and just be anonymous and maybe make comments or something, you know, because, you know, they talk about stuff and, you know, I talk about Litecoin and, you know, they've talked about stuff like that. And yeah, you know, and, they've seen it work and that kind of thing. But anyway, you know, it's just kind of interesting. You know, you never know, you know, who's watching and who may, you know, get something out of this and, you know, take that with them and change a thought in their mind. That's all I'm here for. Change a little, you know, synapses, you know, goes another way, you know, and maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should think about something. And that right there changes the world. It's a whole butterfly effect. You know, you never know whatever you say might, for good or bad, you know, send somebody down a different path, but it's your choice. I mean, you can choose to do whatever you want, but I'm just saying you might want to look at it.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I loved the conspiracy theory thing that the AI came up with. But I love being here right now and in the community and all that. And I do look for opportunities, like we, even in just our daily stuff. You know, if people are, if you're in a bartering situation, well, I take a little less Litecoin for that. If you're going to pay me on Litecoin, it's the same thing, you know, when store owners say, you know, well, cash discount, right? You could say, and anybody who transacts, which is all of us, can do that anytime, you know.
We're just transacting with our energy. You know, it basically all money is a derivative of your energy. That's all it is. I mean, it really is. And it's just, what form of derivative are you willing to take? And, or do you want like the real deal, to where it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do this for you, but when I call you up, you got to come do this for me. You know what I mean? And that's like the ultimate, you know, it's like the real deal, to where it's like, hey, can you come over here on a Sunday and mix some concrete so I can put, you know, okay, yeah, that's fine. But when I put up a pavilion, you know, if I need a freaking bar built, you know, I'm going to call you and you're going to come and do that, you know, so.
And then you're going to come help me.
Yeah, that's it. It's like an immediate exchange of value. There's no derivative.
I did love Thomas Massey talking about calling out like the Fed and talking about money today.
He's a smart guy. That guy is very smart.
And a
scientist.
Constitutionalist.
Yes.
Oh, is he a scientist? Really?
Yeah, I think he's a chemist, maybe by trade. I mean, he's very smart. I mean, he really is. He knows his stuff. He's kind of a geek.
Here he is talking about diluting iced tea.
This is what happens when you have a quantity of something and then you add more to it. This is dilution. The principle is so simple that a child can understand. And you can create this little science project at home. Sorry, you can have your tea back. Okay. But the principle is called dilution. And when you print $5 trillion and you put it into the economy, you have diluted the value of the money. So for instance, if you had a minimum wage at some amount and somebody was making minimum wage and they were still making minimum wage after this money was printed, they actually are making considerably less in terms of real dollars. It's dilution. So the $5 trillion that we printed, I would argue, is the primary source of inflation. You know, we can say, well, eggs went up because feed went up, fuel went up because there's a war in Ukraine. You can find a lot of excuses for various different industries. But what is the probability that every price went up all at the same time? You can't blame them on specific supply chain problems. The thing
how do you explain the global?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that, Professor Raskin. because they did the same thing in Europe. They did this everywhere. They printed their own equivalents of the Federal Reserve and treasuries, created their own money out of thin air. It may be the only thing that saved our dollar is that everybody else did the same thing to their currency. And so the question is, right now we're coming up on the debt limit. Why isn't anybody proposing to print more money? Why aren't the economists proposing to print more money? Because it is poison. When you print money, it is poison to our economy, and it is.
That's why. I loved that today.
100%. And that's what people don't realize. It's like, they talk about inflation, but what they're talking about is inflation of prices. They're talking about price inflation. And the only reason why things go up in price is because you have monetary inflation that came first. You printed all this money. It's going to go somewhere. It's going to go in the stock market. It's going to go into housing. It's going to go into eggs. It's going to go into Bitcoin. It's going to go into all these things. Bitcoin can't go up if you don't print more money. I mean, it can if it sucks money away from, because it's more valuable and it has a use case, from other things in the economy. But I mean, if you were on, like, say, a hard money standard, let's say you're on a Bitcoin standard. There's only so much Bitcoin. So if you got one Bitcoin, you're going to be, and that we're dealing on a Bitcoin standard and you have one Bitcoin, that you are in a very good position. And you're not going to spend that unless you really need something. Because once it's gone, good luck getting it back. I mean, you can't print any more of it. And so that's the thing with the dollars. I mean, we talked about it last night on Hash It Out, if you're right at the faucet of the money when it first comes out and you have access to it first, you can go out and buy all this stuff. You think of COVID, things were really cheap. Things crashed. I mean, for a time, it got cheap to where food, these restaurants were closing down. I talked about it last night. You had potatoes, stacks of potatoes. These farmers are like dumping it in the field. I mean, if you had an opportunity at that point, if you had money and easy access to easy money, you'd go buy stuff up. I mean, you think about 2000, I lived through it. You saw the housing boom, in 2003, 4, 5, 6, and then it starts rolling over in 7 and 8. And then you have all the derivative crashes and you have the movies, that come out. And oh my God, I looked at a house in Florida in 2000, I think it was 2006. I went down there. Yeah, it was 2006 in a neighborhood. It wasn't quite finished yet. They didn't have all the curbs in and, because, the builder was bankrupt. But the condos were done. The houses were done. They're like, $100,000. I mean, amazing. Now, $350,000.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you had the money at that point, I mean, you could have killed it. But the thing is, these big entities, these corporations, I mean, they got the money. BlackRock, give me a break. They come in, they get the easy money. They get they can take loan. Michael Saylor, hey, I'm going to take loans and get a bunch of fiat money. I'm going to buy up Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. At some point, though, you got to pay back those loans. I mean, that's the thing nobody talks about. That's why Celsius goes under. That's why BlockFi goes under. At some point, you got to pay that stuff back. And if that price doesn't continually go up and you don't have continual, the influx of the money, then you run into a problem. I mean, it's dependent upon more money getting created and the pool getting wider and more deeper. And I don't know. I mean, at some point it comes down to whiskey, silver, and cigars. You got to have, and I say that, laughingly, but, it comes down to real assets. It comes down to things that you need, things that you want. If you can get them now and you can get them cheaper and you can preserve those things, you might want to do that, because if they keep printing money, the price, the monetary inflation is going to flow over to price inflation and it's going to push the price up. That's just what happens.
Well, and that's where I thought he did a great job explaining it. And when they said, well, how come it's happening all over? Well, because they're doing it all over. And that's where
China's going to print money. Japan's going to print money. They've been doing it for 30 years. I mean, they're just going to keep printing and printing and printing just to try and keep up. And they're trying to mitigate that. We don't want to print too much. We're trying to balance our economy and the world economy. It's just this big, juggling game, this big, it's really a big game. I mean, it really is. And so with tariffs, to tie that in, you can have tariffs. I mean, it all comes down to your money and how much is your money worth. I mean, so if the U.S. dollar gets strong, then it's all good. But if it doesn't and it crashes and you can have 100% tariff on a country, but if your dollar crashes by 50%, do you really win? Not really. And so, but it comes down to real assets. We have real assets in the U.S. I mean, some countries like Europe, they're starving for energy. Japan starves for energy. Russia doesn't starve for energy. So if you've got real assets, you're probably going to be okay in this new economy. And that's the way I've always thought, that if you've got assets, you're going to be okay. But if you're just going to play the game and think that, you're going to use fiat, man, that is manipulated. That is controlled. You've got to have assets, things that people want.
Well, and that goes to Trump saying that the tariffs start on tomorrow.
I think it got kicked back, didn't it, to March 1st on some countries?
Oh, did it?
I
heard today,
think it did.
I've been a little out of the loop. We've been homeschooling it up.
Somebody needs to fact check me. But I think some of them got kicked to March 1st. So we're stretching the timeline a little bit. And that's the thing, that's the unknown. I mean, we know what's coming. It's just, what's the timeline? What's the, like everybody in the crypto market. Oh, I listened to somebody today. I'd be shocked if Bitcoin doesn't go to $300,000 this year. And I'm like, I said last year it's not going to go to $100,000. And guess what? It just sits there and it sits there. And why do I say that? Because there are other assets besides Bitcoin. If it were Bitcoin only, yeah, it'd be $300,000 million this year. But there are other assets. Take this one, for instance. That one is a big wild card, to where the reason why Bitcoin went up so much is because you got institutional money coming in. You got all this printed money that's able to get into it. Well, now if you have something like that, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying those are the facts. When that becomes available to all these trillions of dollars, what do you think is going to happen to that? Do you think you're going to look at Bitcoin and say, what, $100,000 for one coin? And then this only has 4 times as many, and it's worth $120, $130. Why is it not $1,000? Why is it not $10,000? Why is it not, $25,000 4 to 1? And so it's kind of a game changer. And I think they've kind of strung it along as far as they can to control the assets they want to control. But at some point, it's just, people are going to go into other assets, that have the same value or even a better value. More use case. So,
I hope so. I think so many people live month to month that they don't have assets. I think that was part of COVID, was maybe that may have been the soft transition to hard assets, to an economy that's backed by.
Right. What did people do? What did people do during COVID?
Dead.
I can't go buy bread, so I'm going to make my own bread. I can't get eggs, I'm going to get chickens. And so that mentality, that then we kind of, everything's kind of recovering. Yeah, we got to pay more for that stuff, but I'll pay a little bit more rather than do it myself. But the thing is, that should have taught everyone a lesson that, okay, what do we need to do to provide ourselves the things we need? Because we can do that. And I think that's an important thing. Freaking right now, the biggest bargain on the planet is heirloom organic seeds.
Right.
You can get those for nothing, and look what they produce. And you're gonna be moving. And we talked about this. And
fruit that will then produce
more fruit and more seeds. You can start your own seed business because you got so many seeds, you don't know what to do with them all.
Yeah, I don't think people understand. I didn't understand till my mom explained to me what the significance of heirloom seeds are. But because of big pharma,
reproduce
our food and all that, our food cannot naturally reproduce because they've been GMO'd.
This corn out here, they go to the seed company to get certain seeds that, let's take, it used to be Monsanto, now it's Bayer, with glyphosate. Okay, so it's glyphosate ready. This is the thing, they advertise, it's glyphosate ready. So what's that mean? So you can go to the seed dealer, the big corporations, and get your seeds, which they all do. And, you put them in your hopper and you plant them, and boom, 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 down the corn looks uniform. You can't kill it. You can't flood it. You can't burn it. But they spray glyphosate all over it. It kills everything else. Kills the bees, kills everything, kills you, gets in your water supply, but it doesn't kill the corn because it's glyphosate ready, because it's been bred to withstand that toxin, that thing that kills everything else. That corn will survive, but you got to get it because it's patented. You got to get it from those seed dealers, and you can't reproduce though. That corn doesn't reproduce. So every year you go back and you got to get more seeds. Whereas an heirloom seed, you take Get a $1.50 packet of heirloom freaking tomatoes, peppers, whatever it is. Plant them in your own garden. You know, if they're not spraying you too much and polluted your soil, you know, with all the, but you do that and you put one seed in and it grows 500 seeds on all the fruits off one plant. And then you take those seeds and you grow them again. And then you don't even want them to grow. And here, you know, it freezes, it drops on the ground, and the next year it comes up by itself. It's just a natural order of things. It wants to survive, it wants to reproduce. And you're not paying for that. I mean, you pay for it once and it's, you know, you can live forever. And but, you know, since it's been corporatized, you know, and that's kind of where we're at. Corn around here, 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's they're always it's very stable. They know the yield that they're gonna get because it's been genetically modified to the point to where it's almost impossible not to win unless you have just like major flooding, you know, at a certain time of the year. But yeah, the heirloom seeds are very important because that's the natural order of things. You know, it's like it reproduces, you know, it gets more seeds and you plant, you know, you save them, you plant them next year and you're never going to starve.
Yeah. I just think that it's important to like share that with people that there is a difference. And if you just have
get heirloom seeds,
don't
go get the hybrids and all this heirloom seeds.
Yeah. That's not gonna work.
And then save those seeds out of that tomato, out of that fruit, you know, out of that vegetable for next year. Search it up, how to do it, because they're all different, how you save them. It's not that hard to do. But I mean, instead of going next year and saying, oh, I need to get seeds to plant next year. No, you've got your own seeds. You are your own seed bank. You win. Food is the most important thing. That's the ultimate form of energy. And so if you can do that and produce for yourself, that's
huge.
It's huge. It absolutely is.
Yes. This was another one I thought was really exciting. When his face is frozen, it really does look like a mask. His lips do not look good at all. So I'm not sure who this person really is, but Doug Burgum is the new Secretary of Interior. So I looked into what the Secretary of Interior is, and they're in charge of like all the land and all
that land in the West.
Trusts and all the trusts and deals with the Native American people. And so this was really like all of the timing of this is Trump's pretty much got all his people in place. They haven't confirmed. I guess did they confirm Tulsi today? I don't think they did. I don't think it went through, but
yeah, I don't know if it did. She's still got more explaining to do. Who knows?
Or is that a distraction from he's then getting these guys in who have to do with like the real assets of, you know,
right here, Lisa, the Bureau of Land Management. I went and I did the research. I've done the research. So this right here, it's got the seal of the, you know, the BLM, I guess it is, you know, and it shows the original land patent for this land that I am on right now and many, many other acres around here. 1839, signed by the President Martin Van Buren of the United States. This is the original certified copy of a land patent for this land that I'm on.
Is in charge of all the land patents.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at the land patents and a allodial title, and I mean, it says right on here, it says to your heirs and successors, you know, the successors, that it's free and clear land.
Yeah.
You know, but then why do I get a bill every year? You know, why, you know, and it's just like, how did that get cleared? How did that get bastardized? You know, that kind of thing.
That's a voluntary system.
Right.
So you might, you know, if there are other scams that work similarly to that.
As long as you volunteer and pay it, they're like, okay, we'll take your money.
Every year I get a what looks like a very official document, and it shows my LLC or one of my LLCs on it or one of my organizations on it, and it says like, oh, you need to renew your Secretary of State. This is important.
Yeah. Renew your license, your driver's license, renew this, renew that, renew that.
Online myself with the Secretary of State and pay, I think it's $25 or something ridiculously small like that.
Yeah, but you're like, yeah.
Okay. They want you to send it. They're going to mail it to you. And if you choose to go through them, you volunteered, you submitted. Right. And I think the other 3-letter agency is a similar experience. Like, well, maybe you shouldn't have ever filed.
Yeah, and that's just it. That's a whole rabbit hole to go down. But I mean, you should be able to take something like this into the court of law if you have the chain of custody all the way to yourself and you own the property. Then, it says right here, 1839, the president signed it. Government of the United States said that this is your land. The person that bought it, to everybody, that comes after you, it's yours free and clear. It's very important to go back to what John Locke said, what our Constitution was, a lot of it was based on: life, liberty, and property. Why was property so important? Because that's your kingdom, that's your domicile. I mean, that is your place. That is where you are sovereign. And you can't be sovereign if somebody can take away your castle, somebody can take away your land. And I mean, and now, I talked about it last night. I looked up somebody's house that they built in 2010, I think it was, and they paid $200,000 in property taxes since then.
Oh my God.
$200,000 for what?
Yeah.
Where did it go? What's it for? I mean,
Yeah.
And if you don't pay it, I don't care if you got $1 million invested in that land. It doesn't matter. You think you own it, but then again, then you think, well, wait a minute. I know I own it because I go back to this, and then I have a straight chain of custody. Why is it that you're showing up here and thinking you're going to serve me and take this property, this dirt?
Yeah. Well, and what I like is that they mention liberty, and I think that's a word that is thrown around, but the description or the definition is not truly known. And there are some really strong points in our Constitution about liberty, and that is like freedom of movement. And when we apply that to technology, and that's where we were talking about the satellites earlier, you could even relate it to Operation Choke Point and Choke Point 2.0 and all that. Like, you should have the ability to move, transact freely, and to move, whether that's your physical body or travel on the interwebs or travel with your voice over communication. So that the liberty piece is really important in that as well. I know I was watching a documentary and they were talking about how, although they were like making people slaves, but then because there was like a court case where, well, it's against his constitutional right to not allow them to travel because they have liberty. And so it was like, oh, well, okay, well, it was back when there was segregation and whatever. So they couldn't stop Black people from being on the train because it was their constitutional right to travel, to have liberty.
Freedom of movement.
Yeah. And have movement, freedom of movement. And so that's where I think that's going to kind of, now as we're going into this, or we're in this digital age, I shouldn't say going into, but that's where like the satellite thing is so important. And the, that us not being censored by, these Meta and all these kind of companies that we went through. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the narrative changes.
We've all been brainwashed. I mean, we've all been kind of, when you think about it, we're like 2 generations away from knowing nothing. I mean, really maybe 1 generation away. I mean, because you think about, that history that dies with people that they knew. And then if you can let's not talk about that stuff, and we're going to teach this now. We're going to have new books, and we're going to have, a new way to do things. And so you're raised that way. You think this is the way it's always been. Well, it hasn't been that way. It hasn't always been that way. But you think it is because that's your consciousness, from birth. And if your parents thought that way and you think that way, it's over.
3 generations destroys a truth.
Oh yeah, 3 and you're done. 2, you make the argument that that's enough. Yeah. But I mean, definitely 3.
We'll look at cursive writing. Like, I think there was it was planned to not teach children cursive handwriting so they couldn't read history. And now, like, Cannon gets a letter from Nana and he can't hardly, we're working on it, trust me, but he can't hardly read it.
And that's so foreign to me because it's like, I did cursive in grade school and it's so much easier to write that way and quicker. I mean, think about printing every letter out. It takes forever.
I don't know, is this like a new one? The Supreme Court rule that you don't need a driver's license to drive on public roads? I don't know about that. Benny, tell us about that tonight on Spaces. If you
Yeah, we'll talk about that, but you really don't. You have the right to travel freely, and that's even in their statutes. I mean, and so it's, are you engaging in commerce? If you're engaging in commerce, then you're participating in the corporate structure. I'm not participating in the corporate structure, but I volunteered in unknowingly. You go and get a driver's license.
transact
You
outside.
go and get selective service for males, and you sign, and you do these things. You sign on the dotted line, and your signature means something. Your word means something. You're contracting, and contract, is above law. I mean, if you make a contract, if I make a deal with you and we sign a contract, then that stands, Lisa. I mean, you take that to court, and it's like.
Yeah, you take it to court and they go, oh, you know what? They're broke and everything they own's in a trust, and
right. It's like, you may be right, but you ain't getting nothing.
You're getting nothing. Yeah,
you can be right and still lose, and that's the point.
Justice system is shit.
Right.
Now.
You can be right and still lose.
Yeah, but Trump said that we were going to a merit system, and that's what I guess that law has been passed or is being passed by the Supreme Court, and that's where I'm very curious about how that's going to change things with this merit system, because so many people are used to being entitled and getting their checks and getting this and that. Well, if you didn't work for it, it's probably not yours. So there's got to be some,
Give me my Social Security. Come on.
But you worked for that, and they took it away.
I did work for it, and it's like I said it when I got my first job. It's like, I wish I could opt out.
Yeah.
I'll take that money and do something else with it.
I'd
And
rather.
I probably could have, and I just didn't know enough. I was ignorant, and I probably should have done it then.
So I think Social Security would stand in a merit-based system because you did earn it. And it's just being returned to you much
This
later.
is why you need to get Bix on the show, because this ties in what he's talking about. He's talking about, well, how do we, the oil drops and all that, the old people getting distributed and the light coming down from the cave, and
Yeah,
all the big people get defeated.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to do a show with Bix. We'll have to connect with him and get him to
We
come
should
on.
line that up for next week, because he needs to get reinvigorated. I think he needs a little
We did a
happy
great
hour.
show with Andy today, and he's like, the $30 silver bottom is in, we're ready. Like, it's not going to go down below like 50's the next number, kind of thing. Like, it's just.
What did it close at today? It was like over 32. That's kind of the Mendoza line right now. That's the Rubicon. I mean, 32, 33. Yeah. We're there. I mean, it's so close. I mean, it really is. You saw gold hitting another all-time high. This week? 28,000 or 28,000.
Wow.
Should be 28,000. 2880 or something. It was pretty high. Jake, where are you at? Where's your gold price? But it comes down to real assets. You either have it or you don't. You have something valuable or you don't have it. I mean, you can live in a world of fiction, a world of derivatives, a world of oh, yes, I believe that it should be that. But that's what we've been doing with the dollar. Well, I believe it should be worth that. And then you go and buy some eggs, and it takes $10 to buy the eggs instead of, $1.29 for a dozen. It's because they print more money. Because they can.
New money. There is all
The
kinds
eggs are the asset.
Mhm. Well, and that hasn't changed. It takes the same amount. If you take money out of it, it takes the same amount of feed and water.
Right.
to
And if you're producing it yourself,
keep-
you have no dollar value. It doesn't matter. The
Yeah.
chickens don't care about dollars. They just give me my food so I can lay the eggs.
Yeah.
That's all they care about. Dollar price on it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of wild things being introduced. One of our girls just sent us a thing that said there's a bill being introduced in Oklahoma to abolish the Department of Mental Health. And
Hey, when are we going to abolish the Department of Education? Let's get that going. Let's start with that.
they're doing that hand over fist in Oklahoma.
Let's just eliminate it.
They're Ryan is it Ryan Walters? Ryan somebody is the superintendent, and he's like changing things like crazy. He's wanting them to be able to bring in the Bible if they choose. He's also turning over records to ICE because he said, like, for too long there's been illegals that don't contribute to the taxes that are benefiting from our school systems, which cheats our children, that our families.
Right. So you take on all this influx, all these people that now we have to have, multiple people who can teach English as a second language or Spanish as a first language, English, secondary, that kind of thing. And all those resources that get spent. And it's like, so we all get left behind because we're paying for all this. And then, we're funding. Yeah. I mean, come on. Run for school board. I mean, it doesn't take that many votes. If you really want to make a change, you get out there and you get on the ballot, get on the school board, get on these local, decision-making, boards. I mean, really become the library, the person who runs the library, all these voted offices. If you want to get this stuff and you want to change it, to make it reflective of your beliefs, that's what you do. And I get it. Most people I go to work, I pay for this stuff. Somebody else. I'm paying somebody else to do that. But at some point, you just say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to run for sheriff, or I'm going to find the right sheriff and settle this.
Get to know your sheriff. Ask him if he's
Right.
read the
Or
Constitution.
some donuts. Just to show up with some donuts and have a conversation. I mean, donuts is a great icebreaker. I mean, most sheriffs like donuts, especially the secretary. Hand it out to the deputies. Be familiar, do that thing. If you got time to do that stuff. And that's why I hope crypto does, because really why a lot of people are in crypto is because, first of all, we want sound money. We want to exit the vampire casino. But if it puts us in a position, because when it attracts enough of the energy that we think it's worth, and it puts us in a position to where we have more freedom and our time, our freedom, do those kind of things. I mean, be visible, be nice. And, what do you get more? What is it? The saying,
Flies with honey.
There you go. I knew you're on the right wavelength. The honey, the vinegar thing. Yeah, that's it.
What do you think of the new little pistol press secretary?
27 years old. Wow.
She's brilliant.
What a, I mean, I'm thinking, dang, 27 years old. I'm thinking back and I'm like, yeah, I didn't do enough. You know what I mean? And you look at her and she's like, holy cow. Wow. She's pretty impressive. Just have to say.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. What a change from old Shaggedy Ann.
Yeah. I love that she called him out on that thing this week where she says, like, look, I know that, yeah, because they even said in their question, other than coming here illegally, why do they call them criminals or whatever? And she's like, look, I know you're going to have to get used to this, but that's still a criminal act.
You broke the law.
Criminals going to be criminals,
You broke the law. We didn't even talk about, the whole thing, send them back to, what was it, Colombia?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That whole thing. It's like, hey, we're going to slap tariffs on you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hang on. Let me ask my partner. Oh, yeah. My partner says, yeah. Let's bring him in.
And then they sent the president's plane, the Colombian president's plane, to bring back the illegals. I don't know. That was epic.
You got to go. Get them out. Round them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny said that it did that. The tariffs are kicking in tomorrow, so I don't know.
Are they? Okay. Maybe I misheard.
Maybe it was Benny.
I was thinking it got extended for another month. It may be.
I think it kicks in tomorrow, which makes sense because, okay, the other stuff is the banking stuff that happened that started January 1.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to close out the end of the month. That's where the accountability is. And
and crypto.com as of midnight tonight no longer uses Tether USDT. That's USDT. A huge exchange. I mean, and they're done.
There's so many things that this weekend is the deadline.
That's big.
And it's Chinese New Year. Maybe it's a new year for all
Year
of
the
us.
snake.
Starting Monday morning.
Shed that skin and renew it. You're the snake.
Let's do it. All right. I'm going to go run and grab a bite before we jump on Spaces.
All right.
But thanks to everybody in the chat. Big thank you to Daddy-O for the super chats. That was super kind of you. I appreciate that. And it means a lot to me. So thanks. Encouraging that we're doing good work here, you know? So
absolutely. So go to clintwestwood.net. I've got my Twitter link up there, my X link, whatever it is. Go sign up. You know, didn't even sign up. You know, if you have a Twitter account, follow me, and then I'll do a Spaces at I don't know, probably in the next half hour, 45 minutes or so. I'll start one, and then if you want to talk about all this stuff, and that's the forum to do it, and we can all engage.
Oh, I didn't use this.
Drink? Woo! Woo! I feel good.
We may be drinking on Spaces.
Live footage. Oh no! Wait a minute. That was like the Project Looking Glass. You know, back to Lisa's childhood, right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I just grape juice and me. That's it.
All the tannins.
All the tannins. Oh, what?
All right. Hey, I love y'all. You got to trust yourself. I mean, you really do. I mean, it's easy to be deceived. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, if you're talking about end times, revelation, apocalypse, you know, all that is a revelation, you know, of the end times. And so, you know, a lot of people will get deceived by certain people, and you've got to use discernment, and you've got to trust yourself. More than anything, get decentralized, have assets in your possession, get the things you need, know who you are, what you're connected to, where you came from, why you're here, what your path is. Don't live a life of regret, and just, you know, live. And that's really what it comes down to. You've got to trust yourself, and your gut instinct is like the best thing. That's your barometer. That's your compass. So follow your path. You're here for a reason.
See you guys on Spaces tonight. Thanks for joining us again. Please like and share, and leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. Give me any information that you have too. Take
Love
care.
you all.
Liberty is not a pill that makes men angels. What it does do is limit the extent to which evil can be expressed in the world.